And moving on, Stepchange, a corporate sustainability platform, has raised $4 million at seed funding. The round was led by Beenext and Global Founders Capital. Other investors included the likes of Antler and Speciale Invest. The funds raised will be directed towards enhancing Stepchange's region-specific carbon accounting models, driving product development and accelerating growth in India and key international markets. Joining us now to discuss this further is Ankit Jain, the co-founder and CEO of Stepchange, and also with me, my colleague Ritu. Ankit, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Now, over the recent years, sustainability has become the buzzword. As the world transitions toward net zero, it is fast becoming the next big corporate challenge. So talk to us about how you're helping corporates achieve their sustainability goals and what's the impact that you've created so far.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. As you rightly said, right, over the next 10 to 20 years, almost every large enterprise, every financial institution needs to start making progress towards heading to net zero. So the place where we come in is really help them understand what is their current baseline, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions, different environmental metrics, put in systems in place, different data pipelines, etc. Think of us like an ERP for ESG, so to speak. And so far, we've been working with some of the largest banks in the country, some of the largest FMCG companies, and have already accounted for almost 250 million tons of CO2 equivalent. Put that in perspective, that's almost 7 to 8% of India's emissions.
Give us a sense of how you're working with corporates to help them manage their carbon emissions and, what's your product on offer?
Yes. So basically, when we come in, we help the company first understand where they stand, right? That's the baselining phase, where you plug into all different types of data, everything from procurement to their financial system. Sorry about that.
That's all right, go on.
And their HR systems and other systems. Sorry about that. There's a little background noise. Yeah. As I was saying, we plug into different data streams within a company. This includes financial accounting, procurement, facilities management, waste management. They all flow into our system, help us baseline what the company is doing. And then we work with them to figure out what are the interventions they need to do to show year-on-year reductions on their emissions and improvement on their ESG metrics, right? And we help them program manage that transition.
All right. Now, you've raised $4 million. Can you talk to us about how you plan to use these funds, new services and new products in the pipeline? What's the agenda here?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the big things that we are focusing on is building India-specific emission models. As you might be aware, a lot of work that's happened in climate science so far has happened in global markets and in Western markets like US and Europe. So we are helping bring that science to India and developing a lot of region-specific models. Apart from that, continuing to invest in product development, but most importantly, investing in growth. Now that we've found early product market fit, we want to make sure we take this solution to every company that's looking to decarbonize.
What's Stepchange's revenue model? Is it subscription-based or, how are you getting revenues and what are the diversification possibilities?
Absolutely. So yes, it is subscription-based. It's an annual subscription based on per user, as well as different modules that the companies take from us. So if you're only doing decarbonization, there is one model. If you are looking at an entire portfolio, there's a slightly different product. If you're looking at product level sustainability, there's another product that's available. And from a diversification standpoint, we go from here to start including things like marketplace for sustainable services, helping companies with audits and certifications, and so on.
So where do your revenues currently stand and what are the targets that you set for yourself for this year?
Yeah, so our main target is to get to triple-digit customers by end of this year. So, that's a big one we're focusing on because the biggest impact, honestly, we can have is helping every large company in India starting to start their decarbonization journey. So the focus is really on growth and getting into as many customers as possible.
And Vivek, quickly, before we let you go, what is your plan as far as entering international markets are concerned?
Yes, so we will look to enter international markets fairly soon. But the focus for this year is on India, as I was saying, building India-specific models. But we're already getting a lot of interest from markets outside India, but taking it one step at a time.
All right, Vivek, thank you so much for your time here on CNBC-TV18. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Same here. Thank you.
All right, on that note, we're going to take a short break. But up next, with the onset of summer and soaring temperatures, the animal care organization, or TACO, along with climate warriors, launched a water bowl challenge. We'll tell you about that and more after we return.
I am slow. I'm a tortoise. But your wealth managers, they shouldn't be as slow, you know?
Choose Nuvama. We move at the right pace because we only do what's right for you and your money. Nuvama. Let's do it right.
कुछ फ्रेंड्स ना बिल्कुल फैमिली जैसे होते हैं। मेरा फ्लैटमेट जस्ट लाइक माई मॉम।
कपड़े आज धोएगा या अगले साल?
हेलमेट ओए उठा। इसीलिए ना आई गॉट अस एयरटेल का फैमिली प्लान। 2 कनेक्शंस सिर्फ 599 में। मतलब वे बेटर देन अलग अलग रिचार्ज ना।
सुन, नाश्ता बनाऊं?
फ्रेंड्स हो या कॉलीग्स, सबके लिए है एयरटेल फैमिली प्लान।
ऑल्सो अवेलेबल फॉर रियल फैमिलीज।
Samsung Solve for Tomorrow is a national education and innovation competition. This is your chance to make an impact for India. Don't miss the opportunity to win prizes. So join the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow today.
I am slow. I'm a tortoise. But your wealth managers, they shouldn't be as slow, you know?
Choose Nuvama. We move at the right pace because we only do what's right for you and your money. Nuvama. Let's do it right.
India's brightest personalities are assembling on one stage, sparking conversations around clean energy. Curated by Network 18's top editors and journalists to chart a path towards a sustainable future. Sia Fest, 17th May, New Delhi, on News 18 Network.
Welcome back. You're watching Startup Street. Now, with the onset of summer and soaring temperatures, the animal care organization, or TACO, along with climate warriors, has launched a water bowl challenge and a walkathon for the welfare of Mumbai stray animals. The event, which saw over 650 people participate, brought together animal lovers from across the city. Over 100 animals are left injured or abandoned only on the streets of Mumbai every day. Now, these animals are left without treatment for days until the injury becomes fatal. That's where organizations like Yoda and TACO come into play. Arundhati Ramanan filed this report.
We're all here in Mumbai at Bandstand walking for a cause for all of our furry friends. And this was organized by the animal organization TACO along with climate warriors. And we're all fighting for a cause to give a better life to our furry friends. Priya Agarwal Hebar, the founder of TACO, who is also a director at Vedanta, claims that her love for animals trumps her love for the corporate role. Her passion project began with Yoda, or the youth organization in defense of animals, way back in 2010. Yoda went from just a social media page to an ambulance service and now even houses 3 shelters to rehabilitate injured animals. In a bid to look beyond just India's stray animals, Priya launched TACO just last year. This with an aim to focus on wildlife and building infra for all animals in the country.
So firstly, I would say it was from animal to Vedanta because because I was born with an absolute love for animals. When after I graduated, me and my then boyfriend, now husband, started Yoda together, and this was just an awareness group online, turned into an ambulance service that used to go around the city. Now we have 3 shelters, and we've recently just launched TACO, which is the umbrella for all of this, which will take care of wildlife, domestic animals, and farm animals.
Taco, which is housed under Vedanta's CSR initiative, the Anil Agarwal Foundation, has an assigned corpus of 100 crore rupees. It has also extended its efforts towards boosting wildlife conservation and has donated over 1 crore rupees from its corpus to the Ranthambore National Park. So far, Taco has provided treatment and vaccination to thousands of animals across different states of India.
At the beginning, we were just young and doing whatever we could with our pocket money. And when we started an online platform, we didn't really think too much was going to happen out of it. But overnight, we had 50,000 followers. So automatically, we knew there is a need and a love for this in the country. And the more we did, the kind of support we already get, from locals in Mumbai, from HNIs, from corporates is unmatchable.
Meanwhile, actor Bhumi Pednekar's not-for-profit organization Climate Warriors has also joined hands with Taco to boost the welfare of stray animals.
My initial association actually started with Yoda. Through the lockdown, after the lockdown, I saw Yoda do some incredible work around Mumbai and actually adopted one of my babies from the organization. And I have been associated with them for some time now, and I was so impressed with what they are doing. And the whole idea being that, I love animals, but am I doing enough? I wasn't sure.
Right.
So I called Priya up and I was like, I know that you are actively at it. Tell me, how can I be of help? She's like, we can do this walkathon. We can install water bowls across the city.
Every month, lakhs of animals get into accidents and are left there to die or deteriorate because there's no infrastructure, there's no care for them. I think what we first need to understand is that each community, each state, like if we are, ensuring there are Anganwadis for kids attached to that, we can make sure that, there's some facility to take care of injured and sick animals. We can, there's the population growth needs to be managed.
With the rise in the population of stray animals in the country, people are now increasingly adopting indie dogs over buying. In fact, earlier this year, the Maharashtra government planned to launch a stray dog adoption scheme to reduce the number of stray dogs on the road, but that's not enough. Effective sterilization and vaccination drives will be needed to curb the rise in population. In Mumbai, Arundhati Ramanan. Moving on, Airbnb, which was launched in India in 2012, is now a popular alternative to traditional hotels. What's the company's India growth story? Aishwarya Anand finds out.
Today we'll put the spotlight on Airbnb, which was launched in India in 2012 and since then has become a popular alternative to traditional hotels and accommodations. In 2022, the overall nights booked in India on Airbnb surged 70% as compared to the pre-pandemic levels in 2019. Now, to understand how India is powering Airbnb's growth this decade, I'm now joined by Amanpreet Bajaj, Airbnb's General Manager for India, Southeast Asia, Hong Kong and Taiwan. Thank you, Amanpreet, for joining us on the show today. In 2022, the company's revenue has grown to $8.4 billion, making it the most profitable year for Airbnb. So tell me, how has the India business fared in the last 1 year? And could you also give us some insights on some of the trends that you've noticed on the consumers part of it, which is propelling this kind of growth in the country?
Thank you for having me. I think it's been a great year. What I can say is that if I were to just look at some specific segments in India, just to give you the outbound number, for example, outbound travel so basically Indian guests traveling overseas has doubled if I were to look at last quarter. So what we've also seen is if I were to compare pre-pandemic numbers with 2022, we have seen that nights in India have grown by almost 70%. And if I were to look at domestic segments, so Indians traveling within India, that number has grown by almost 110%. So clearly all segments have seen some strong growth for our business in India. And I think there are a number of trends that have gone behind it. One thing is the rise of a responsible and conscious traveler. In fact, in 2021, we had done a survey through Economist Impact, which said that almost 79% of the people that we polled in India suggested that they are very conscious in terms of their actions and the actions on the communities that they visit. That travel to non-urban destinations grew by almost 140%. So newer places like Jibi, Varkala, etc. are finding favor. A lot of people want to explore domestic India. The other trend that I'm seeing is a spike in family travel. That number grew almost 110% for us. And what we also see is that while family travel is increasing, a lot of people want to travel solo as well. So solo travel has also doubled on our platform if I were to compare it with last year.
While India has been one of your top 3 strategic markets, the penetration in India is still lower as compared to the mature markets like the US, correct? So what is the, what is the potential that you see in the market going forward? And also in terms of growth areas, what kind of investments are you planning to make in India going forward?
I think there is a ton of opportunity when we talk about India, right? You're right, our penetration is not as comparable to mature markets, but we also have a long-term horizon for India. What we have done is, so very recently we made almost 50 plus upgrades, the most extensive upgrade to our service. What we are doing is we're making it easier for hosts to put their primary homes or secondary homes on the platform, price them more competitively, give weekly, monthly, long-term stay discounts, and also figure out what other people around the neighborhood are pricing things at. What we've seen is there is growing interest in hosting in India. We have seen significant growth across the breadth of India in terms of newer cities coming up where people want to host. We have an ongoing partnership with Seva, which is a self-help group of about 2 million rural women. We started a partnership with them in Gujarat, wherein we trained a cohort of female entrepreneurs on best practices and hospitality, and they became hosts on the platform, and they've been able to earn on a monthly basis money that their families were not even earning on an annual basis. So clearly guests from all across the world and have come and stayed with them, and has put rural destinations on a global roadmap. We have now extended that partnership to Ladakh, and more importantly, we'll also continue to work with government stakeholders. We announced an MOU with the Department of Tourism and Ministry of Tourism in Goa, and the focus there is to put Goa on the global roadmap.
Now, talking about the new offerings, you've made a new addition on the platform, and that is, instead of renting out a whole apartment or a house, you're giving out single rooms now. What kind of response are you seeing from the consumers? In terms of affordability, how is the new offering placed?
When people stay with local hosts, they see the city through their lens. They literally live like a local. And we believe that is the soul of Airbnb. And we're literally bringing Airbnb rooms as a new category to bring back the old Airbnb philosophy here, right? And what we've done is that it's a curation of about 1 million listings or Airbnb rooms, which are in, entire homes. So private rooms in entire homes across the globe, including many in India. And we are making it much easier for people to discover who the host is. For example, there is a fun product feature that we've introduced. It's called the Host Passport. We have seen is that they find a lot of favor amongst millennials and Gen Z as well. So even if I were to just look at India numbers, the growth percentage in terms of nights being booked in private room listings grew by almost 80% last year. Right? And if I were to just look at private room hosts, they earned almost 1 billion INR last year. What we've seen globally is that this is also a very affordable option. So 80% of all private rooms globally are under $100. In fact, the average rate is about $67. So it creates much more affordable options. In India, that number is about, just upwards of 2,500 rupees.
All right, Amanpreet, thank you so much for speaking to us today. It's been lovely interacting with you, and we wish you all the very best with all your future plans.
Thank you so much.
Well, a 70% impressive growth over 2022 in the nights booked by Airbnb in India. On that note, we're going to wrap up this edition of Startup Street. Thank you for watching, but stay with CNBC-TV18 for all your news and updates.